Let's now take reactions trailing the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji's resignation following allegations of certificate forgery. President Bola Tinubu accepted his resignation on Tuesday, ending months of controversy over credentials he submitted during his ministerial confirmation. Presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga confirmed that Nnaji resigned in a letter thanking the president for allowing him serve Nigeria, claiming he has been a target of blackmail by political opponents. An investigation by the Premium Times revealed Nnaji did not complete his university education and that both the bachelor's degree and NYSC certificate he presented to Tinubu, the secretary to the government of the Federation, the DSS, and the Senate were allegedly forged. Before his resignation, a federal high court in Abuja dismissed Nnaji's request to stop the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, from releasing his academic records. The minister's camp alleged that Premium Times had been paid 100 million naira bribe by the Enugu state government to conduct its investigation. However, the publication's editor-in-chief defended their integrity on live television, asserting that the report was not a payoff, but the result of a tip-off received from a whistleblower.
The spokesperson for the minister accused us of receiving 100 million naira from the Enugu state government. Of course, he's going to prove that in court. We are not a newspaper that you can unduly malign. You know, we've built our integrity for close to 15 years. And no one, we've done a lot of great stories, and no one has ever accused us of us. People know us for that. And so we'll meet in court. He will bring his evidence and tell us how the money was given and how it was received. A whistleblower had sent us an email to our newsroom email to raise concern and to alert us to some discrepancies in the minister's claim. And the whistleblower appealed to us to investigate that he or she, we don't know the person, is confident that if we do diligent investigation, we will be able to uncover something shocking. In 3 different correspondences, the university says it didn't issue the certificate. I mean, correspondence to us by the Vice Chancellor, a letter to us today by the registrar of the university, and then a letter to the Public Complaint Commission. The university says it didn't issue the certificate.
Well, that was the Premium Times editor-in-chief. His defense of their investigative journalism highlights the tension between media accountability, political pushback, when powerful figures are exposed. Uche Nnaji's resignation marks yet another controversy in President Tinubu's cabinet, raising questions about the vetting process for ministerial appointments. Well, let's take some tweets. And if you can pull up some tweets here, I'd read some. This is from Olufemi, who wrote, Jeffrey Nnaji has tendered his resignation, but resignation alone does not address the gravity of the matter. Forgery is a criminal offense, and submitting false statements under oath, as he allegedly did in support of the documents presented to the Senate for screening, constitutes perjury, a serious breach of both law and public trust. Well, beyond resignation, he ought to be held accountable under the law, including a full refund of all salaries and entitlements he has received. The principle of justice and accountability demand more than a mere voluntary exit. The law must take its course. If you can pull up another ex-user there, this person, author, wrote, it's embarrassing that someone could become a minister without proper verification of academic credentials. How did this pass through vetting? And what does it say about the integrity of those responsible for screening nominees? I mean, these are some of the questions that they've been asking. I'll take another ex-user who wrote, this is exactly how a government that understands accountability should operate. Swift, decisive, and devoid of political sentiment. Accepting his resignation sends a clear signal that public office is a trust, not a refuge for scandal. But it shouldn't stop there. If the allegations have merit, legal action must follow. Resignation is not atonement. The rule of law must assert itself. Rufai, I'm coming to you on this story. I mean, I think that, you know, the idea of accountability really is what a lot of Nigerians are asking us. You can see from some of the, posts that I've read on X. Your thoughts on all of the stories, especially given the fact that, you know, the Premium Times editor-in-chief, they were saying that they had offered him 100 million naira bribe for the story, but he said it's from a whistleblower. Your thoughts?
With your respect, we have been in this business for a while.
Yeah.
The truth is, when you call out corrupt politicians, they will lie against you. The first and easy lies, they will say you collected money. The second lie is the political lie. So we are not surprised that the representative of the minister had to make such an allegation. Anyway, Mr. Majid and his team will go ahead and defend themselves in court. But I also saw the spokesperson of the minister struggle so much because, you see, like my very dear friend and great brother, Minister Wiki, will say, if he didn't day, he didn't day. Oji, look at that certificate. Look at that
right
NY
there on the
certificate.
wall, we can see.
Do you know
that
there's a document that came out? Apart from the fact that the investigation did not start today.
No, they
it started with People's Gazette.
Yes.
The investigation did not start today.
No, they
it started with People's Gazette.
Yes.
And what they are claiming, the minister is claiming that the document they gave People's Gazette from the school, the registrar, they said, that I went to the school. They have debunked that document because the registrar now has said that does not exist. And me, I know the backstory of what transpired. I've heard what transpired. Secondly, look at that document. There's a document that came out recently, Oji, where the school wrote the minister a letter in 1985 saying that you didn't pass your final exam, virology, MCB 4 something. And there's also a written letter by the minister as a student, then Jeffrey Nnaji, saying that I will take that exam in June 1986. Those documents are in public glare. Premium Time also posted them, although they didn't give credit to the source that brought out those documents. So, Oji, does it make sense?
I want to ask you, Rufai, since you followed this story, do you recall that I believe that there's an affidavit that he had submitted back in December 2023, I believe that he had claimed that he never received any certificate from Nsukka.
Yes, he's also in the Premium Time reporting, yes. But they are trying to deny that. He's also what his team came to do yesterday was just to say they should give us our transcripts, secondly, and then to hold on to that initial response the registrar gave People's Gazette, which has been debunked as a lie now. Oji, how can a man that said that in May 1986, in June 1986, we were going to write his final supplementary exam, virology, MCB something, now graduates from NYC in that 1986 May, before the June he was supposed to write the exam? That document is out there in public glare. So kudos to both People's Gazettes and what's it called that did the job. So I'm not surprised that they are Premium Times, that they are mudslinging Premium Times. Is what we get for doing our job, and that's the height of journalism. But like everybody has said on the panel, the case must be taken to court.
Yes, I believe so too.
The case must be tried out in courts. The fact that somebody has resigned should not be pardoned.
This is it. This is the main point. I mean, the fact that he also resigned, I think, is showing some sort of accountability, and he's saying that he doesn't want any sort of disturbance. But we need to follow up on this case, and we will follow up on the story. This is the second minister that we are hearing now in this cabinet that was not screened properly.
Well, it's no longer news that the dishonorable minister of Science and Technology has just resigned over certificate forgery. He forged NYSC certificate, he forged BSc certificate from UNN. Yes, he was actually admitted to UNN, but he never graduated. He failed a virology course, and when he sat for it the second time, he failed again. It's a shame. This is the second minister under APC to resign over certificate forgery. First was Kemi Adeosun, Minister for Finance under Buhari. She resigned and went back to London or wherever she lives now. The second now is Uche Nnaji. To make it even worse, Kemi Adeosun actually graduated, but she doesn't have, NYSC was given certificate of exemption, like NYSC will give you when you graduate beyond the age. But she forged a certificate that she actually served, which she did not. But for this man now, who is parading himself as a graduate, Uche Nnaji, is a shame. Shame. Interestingly, Premium Times started investigating this fraud since 2023 that Tinubu appointed him. I still wonder how Senate was able to pass this guy. How did he pass Senate screening? To tell you that Abio-led Senate is a rubber stamp Senate. That nothing. I said it before, people will not understand. When Tinubu himself also have cases in USA over drugs, and he's ruining us today. We can't see clear traces of Tinubu's certificate. Nobody is showing us that. All he's showing us is one certificate from Chicago, and all of that. No accountability. So Premium Times started investigating this man since October 2023 after Tinubu nominated him, along with 27 others for ministerial position and screening in July 2023. It sparked rumors and suspicion that his credentials were fake. After after people started suspecting him, there was serious screening on October 2023. Premium Times, just like you have heard the man, said they were tipped off by a whistleblower and they started full investigation. But UNN, NYSC, and Senate delayed the investigation until this year. In fact, until this last month, September. This is October now. Eventually, two senators gave Premium Times the 10-page documents Nnaji submitted, flaunting his fake credentials from NYSC certificate to UNN BSc in microbiology and biochemistry. Now, Premium Times first found out his NYSC was dated 15 May 1986 and signed by Colonel Animation, sorry for pronunciation, Brahimo. That was impossible because at the time, Colonel Brahimo was the 5th CEO of NYSC who served from January 1988 to December 1990. Unless Nnaji predicted his appointment 18 months earlier, he made a terrible blunder. Now, Colonel Edet Aban was the person in office from January 1984 to December 1987 that a fraudulent man, Uche Nnaji, claimed he graduated and served. Also then, NYSC used the title CEO until later in 1990s when it became director, then national director and now director general. But on this fraudulent man, should I be even calling him former Minister of Science and Technology or a fraud? That will do. This fraud, on his certificate in 1986, it was signed by National Director Colonel Animation Brahimo. At that time, National Director was not used. National Director was used after 1990s, but he was the one who was in charge of NYSC and gave himself a certificate, awarded himself a certificate with his henchmen of certificate racketeers. So how between 1986 and 1990 only Nnaji's certificate had national director. When God wants to expose somebody, God makes it openly. Premium Times and other news outlets started gathering their information, getting the records of people who served between 1986 to 1990 to see that it is only this man, Nnaji, who has a different NYSC certificate that he forged for himself. And his own is the only one that have a national youth service certificate that was signed by a national director. Others have CEO that signed it. His NYSC certificate also has a certificate number of A231309 in 1986, which was impossible as the alphabet CN was only introduced in the 1990s. Finally, he miscalculated and claimed he served in Plateau from April 1985 to May 1986. That is 13 months. Well, we know that you can be stubborn and then they'll make you to serve for extra 1 month or 2 months. But your certificate, your NYSC will still have the same date and months for like others. Premium times also, okay, now for his UNN certificate again, he miscalculated. He claims he graduated July 1985 but started service in April 1985. This man he just showed that he is a dunce. How can you claim you graduated in July 1985 but you started your service in April 1985? So he started doing his youth service. He started doing his youth service before he graduated, meaning NYSC posted him to Plateau without Senate authentication. That's not possible. Premium Times also investigated his time in UNN. It turned out he was indeed admitted in 1982 to study biological science, but he failed repeatedly, including virology 431AB, that's the course code, and never showed up for receipt that UNN even advised him to withdraw. Then he wrote a letter to the school in 1986 pleading they allow him to write the courses he failed. You have seen the letter he wrote. The school declined, but it didn't stop him, as he still paraded himself as UNN biological science graduate. Premium Times got this document despite Nnaji, this fraudulent man. I won't add former minister of science and technology anymore. This fraud called Nnaji attempted to use the court to block UNN from releasing his document, but High Court threw away his appeal. He presented these fake documents to President Tinubu, to the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, the DSS, and the Nigerian Senate, and got rewarded with an important educational ministry like Innovation, Science and Technology. Why is this man not in police custody? Why is he not in DSS custody? Why is he not arrested? I remember one girl, Mesoma, who actually wrote JAMB and passed and got good score, but he manipulated his score. Maybe he wanted scholarship. He manipulated his score. And the way this little girl was bashed, that little girl, Mesoma, is even better than Nnaji. At least he had a JAMB score. This one has no NYSC certificate. He forged it. He has no a BSc certificate. He forged it. Maybe we can also check if he managed to get secondary school certificate, WAEC, or maybe GCE. Who knows? Everything about him now is forgery. Despite the overwhelming evidence by Premium Times, NYSC and UNN insiders, Nnaji still denied on Monday. He called it politically motivated propaganda to ruin his image. He accused the UNN VC of being PDP, hence the lies. Surprisingly, barely 24 hours later, you know what happened? He just resigned. Yet, in his resignation, he still claims it's all falsehood and he only resigned due to personal reasons, not that he's guilty. And in the President Tinubu's media, this thing, said, called by Ananuga, said Tinubu has accepted his resignation and calls it all blackmail. And Nigerians are applauding him. Maybe Emilocons, not Nigerians, applauding him for his act of what kind of terrible and useless integrity. This is it, guys. Imagine if people like us or one random person fell short of this scandal. The way they will pounce on the person, the way they will descend on the person, you will even pity for the person. This is what you get in a country called Nigeria. Look at his statement. This man, this fraudulent man, After deep reflection and consultations with family, associates, and well-meaning Nigerians, I have today tendered my resignation as the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology to President Bola Tinubu, GCFR. This decision did not come lightly. Over the past week, an orchestrated, sustained campaign of falsehood, politically motivated, and malicious attacks have been waged against my person, integrity, and office across print, electronic, and social media platforms. She said these unfounded allegations and media distortions have not only caused personal distress but have also begun to distract from the vital work of the ministry and the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. As someone who has spent more than 5 decades building a reputation anchored on hard work, honor, and service to humanity, I cannot in good conscience allow these distractions to cast a shadow over the noble objectives of this administration. My decision to step aside is therefore a personal choice, not an admission of guilt, but rather a principled decision to respect the sanctity of due process and to preserve the integrity of the judicial proceedings currently before the court. In the end, justice will prevail and history will vindicate the just. I remain deeply grateful to His Excellency President Bola Tinubu for the confidence he reposed in me and for the privilege to serve in his cabinet. His vision for a renewed, innovative and technologically driven Nigeria is one I continue to hold dear, and I pledge my unflinching support to his administration and to his transformative goals. I don't understand. I remember when the current governor of Enugu State won governorship election under the platform of PDP. There was this allegation that he doesn't have an NYC certificate. This man took it to court and won in court. Well, he said the case is in court. Let's see how this fraudulent man, Uche Nnaji, will win in court. UNN has proved that you did not graduate. We are admitted. They didn't deny that you didn't graduate. You have no certificate. That's from UNN. They can't trace any record of it. NYC also have proved that they did not award you the certificate you are parading about. And even the certificates you presented to Senate yourself, nobody forged it. The certificate this man presented to Senate is paradoxical. You said you started, they show that he started NYC even before he graduated. It's just like placing the cat before the horse, which doesn't work. But under APC government, it works. It's a shame. This man should be arrested. I don't really know why, he's not arrested. Kemi Adelson should have been arrested. That one resigned and disappeared out of the country. These people just go scot-free. So every law they are making is just for the average citizen. It's not meant for everyone. Now that he has resigned, he's no longer in power, he's no longer a public office holder. He should be arrested, prosecuted, and sent to jail. But under the Nigerian government, laden with terrible corruption, nothing will happen to him. In fact, he'll be walking like a white lion now. White lion is no longer afraid of EFCC. After doing his whatever thing he has done, he's no longer afraid.